everyone, and welcome to the Music is Our Hero podcast, hosted by Grammy Award winner Drea Young. This is the spot where we celebrate creativity, share stories, and lift each other up in the arts. Each episode will dive into conversations that inspire, empower, and spark new ideas, because art isn't just about what we make, it's about the community we build together. So grab a seat, get comfy, and let's grow in creativity side by side. The Music is Our Hero podcast for creativity, community, and inspiration come to life.
All right, here I am today in Wyoming. Wyoming, like the state, Delaware, with Jim Rezac.
Yes.
How I say your last name?
You got everything right.
I got it right. Okay, cool. Jim, I know Jim. We haven't seen each other for years.
Yeah,
I feel like
it's been a couple years. I went up to the fire a long time ago, and
Yeah, from when I used to host the open mic at the fire, so we know each other. He is a guitar teacher. I know that. He's also a musician. He writes. He records himself. I don't know if he records other people. So we're here to talk to him today just to hear about that side of life. So how long have you? What do you do more? Do you teach for a living? Or
yeah, so I like that question because I answer it a lot, so I had to come up with a quick answer. Teaching pays the bills. I have 45 students. Teach bass, guitar, ukulele, a little bit of banjo. I'm getting into these days. But that's in between, if I got a couple hours in between my morning students and my evening students, I record and I write and I write and I write and I record and I mix and I do everything myself, not by choice, just by necessity because
that's how it happens,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know about that. Do it myself life.
Yeah.
So are these students from like all over? Are they here in Delaware?
Most of them from right around here. But I do have some virtual students. Teach someone down the beach, Buddy Dave. I teach my niece in Virginia, and so I do a little virtual teaching too. But most of them are from local. A lot of adults, believe it or not, like in the mornings and stuff like that. But yeah,
yeah. What inspired you to start teaching?
I actually first started teaching back when I was in college as a kind of a side gig, just to like on the weekends earn a little extra money. And I always treated it as such, just a side thing. And then I'd fall out of it for a couple of years and I'd do it again. And, as my kids were coming up, maybe when they got to a certain age, I thought, well, let me teach a little bit more again, just to bring in a little extra bucks. But then about 13 years ago, one of those, twists of fate, I lost a job and tried to do it from home, wasn't having success. So I thought, well, let me just teach again. And then it's like kind of the universe. We were talking earlier about the universe, stepped in and made me very busy doing that. And next thing I know, I had 25 students. I thought, man, I still don't have a job. I have 25 students, and it's a funny business because it's up and down.
Right.
You can't always plan, when it's going to be busy. And so I thought, well, let me just see if I went and got a brick and mortar place instead of doing it out of my basement with traffic going through. And within a year, I had doubled that. It was like up to about 50 students. So that was, 12 years ago, and that's been what I've been doing. And it's perfect for someone who wants to write, because when I had the 9 to 5 working elsewhere or another company or whatever, you'd come home with plans. Oh, I'm going to finish that song, or I'm going to.
Don't get to it.
And you're like,
I know. Yeah, I get that. How long you been playing guitar?
Got a guitar when I was in 7th grade for Christmas, and did like everyone else does. Took lessons for a couple years, and then started learning by myself. Joined bands, started playing, got pulled into an open mic during college, and
so was this in like the 80s or the 70s?
Very
well. We don't have to. I mean, obviously, but I'm just curious because I know what music we're what decade we're dealing
that was
with.
in the 70s.
It was a whole other time than now.
Yeah,
like people learning guitar now. It's great because we want to keep the music alive and the guitar alive. But back in the day, that's all that was. There was none of this all this stuff that we have now.
Right, and when you wanted to learn, you couldn't just say, look at your phone, let me look up the tab.
You didn't even have pagers yet.
Right.
All you had was that landline, and that's it.
Right. We carved it in stone.
Yeah, or like GPS. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Remember life before,
Yeah.
get the map out,
Run off the map
I don't
quest
know
and
if
have them on your desk.
I don't know if I would have traveled here. I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
That's funny. I remember when, I would, like, when they first started driving, I'd want to print out maps for my
MapQuest.
sons. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a MapQuest
No,
kid.
Dad. No, old man. Put those maps away. But no, it was, I remember the first.
So so 70s. So yeah, I mean, you were coming right out of like, rock and roll was just being found, singer-songwriter, all that disco.
Right. I, I remember learning my first, what I considered first cool song. This will help you date what's going on. Back then, the Philadelphia Inquirer would have a song in their Sunday paper with the chords. Like I learned John Lennon's Imagine, but the first cool song I learned was Heart of Gold by Neil Young. And that's where I learned it, from the newspaper. There's no internet.
That is so cool that the newspaper did that.
Yes. And I bet nobody but maybe guitarists remember that. It was such a cool thing, they didn't have to, but there I was looking for it every Sunday. You learn a song. Yeah.
That is super cool. I never knew that was a thing.
There you go.
Good for the paper. Shout out to the Philadelphia Inquirer for caring back in the day.
Right.
I mean, they might still care, but no one's putting songs in the paper now. Well, no one's probably even really getting the paper.
Yeah.
Now. So yeah, and then you also write your own music, right?
Yeah.
I was listening to some on the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It was cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had
the dog song. I heard that on the way. I only heard like maybe like 4. I was like, oh, let me check him out real quick. And yeah, that dog song that was funny. It has it's a little catch that like normally you don't want to say about your dog, but it makes sense to what the song is for the songwriting guy.
The song was originally called that catchphrase, but I thought, no, that's like telling a joke and giving the punchline away right before you tell a joke.
Yeah. The catchphrase we don't even want to say because you sound like a horrible person. You got to hear this song and then you'll know. Look it up. The dog song.
It's a good. It's that's one of my favorite stories. People say, when are you going to record that in the studio? I thought, I don't think I am. It's a live. It's a live performance song.
That.
The first time I played it, I was at the library here. My mother was there and a couple of good friends who were dog people, and the deafening laugh. Because you don't know. That was the first time I played it. This is either gonna.
Now, was that about a real dog, or you just wrote the story?
No, it was about a phrase. I'll go ahead and say the phrase. The phrase was, "Life begins when the kids move out and the dog dies."
Yeah,
because you can't go on the cruise if you got to stay home with Fido and put stuff in his ear. And,
and the song also, so everybody knows, was talking about at first how, he got the dog, becomes his best friend, which we all know that experience if you've had an animal or a dog, and the dog now is everywhere. It's like, what about Bob? It's like that movie, right? Like the dog, you're always going home, the dog's outside
you open
the
door, there he is.
Dog's waiting, the dog
waiting
wants
outside
food.
the bathroom door.
Now you have no privacy.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and tell them the catchphrases. So it's like, I never had a dog. I never had a dog when I was a kid. Now that I'm much older, it's the first thing that I did. I found myself a shelter, rescued me a mutt. He was in a cage all alone, chewing on his butt. Anyway, he followed me to the car. He followed me back home ever since that evening long ago. I've never been alone. He waits outside the bathroom door. He sticks to me like glue. He loves me so aggressively, I don't know what to do. And then a very slow rollout. So now I'm waiting for the dog to die. And I have had, some people have taken umbrage with that. I had this nice lady waiting for me at that night I played it. Everyone else is laughing and they're crying because ladies waiting.
And I like the live recording aspect of it.
Oh, my gosh. And there's a lady waiting outside the library door for me. She was waiting for me to pack up all my gear. Had her phone. This is my dog Froofy, and I don't appreciate the. I'm like,
oh no,
I don't want the dog to die.
Did someone come at you?
No,
It's not a real.
Someone
he
stopped
doesn't
me
really
on the
want. He's a very
street.
loving guy. Like, come on.
One guy gave me the thumbs down at some place.
My
I'm like,
God. They couldn't
get a sense of humor. Yeah,
it wasn't serious.
Yeah,
not
it
like
was
really. I mean, obviously, it's a tragic, sad thing when that happens.
No, we don't want him to die.
We don't want him.
But it's like,
just
okay, you're 14, 1 foot in
you're
a grave,
annoying
the
me.
other on a banana peel. Let's move this thing along. I got a cruise I want to be on.
Exactly.
We got some living to do. Yeah. Fido's like struggling. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you listen to it because I loaded some stuff up early on when I started. I started writing about 16 years ago. I never wrote songs. Always was in cover bands, rockabilly bands, even a country band. And that was good enough. If you're a guitarist, you piddle around with stuff. Oh, this may, but I didn't have the urge to go back and finish that. And about about maybe 15 years ago, 16 years ago, I joined a band called it was called Runaway Train, and it was an Americana band. I played that guitar behind us, that cigar box slide guitar. And
This one?
oh, no, it's back there hanging on the wall. Right
Oh,
there.
behind the
Yeah,
sign. I
yeah.
can't even see it.
I'm pointing to something you can't see. How's that for TV?
Right there.
Imagine.
There's really
But-
one back there.
But I played a 6-string banjo. I played that. I played a Telecaster, and it was a fun band. But 2 of the people wrote songs. I said, I can do that. And I went home and finished 3 little pieces that I had for 10 or 15 years. And ever since then, I've been writing. And I found my passion. I found my voice, and there's been writing, and just
Now you just do a lot of storytelling. Is it stuff that's personal, or is it all kinds of whatever?
I think everybody writes from personal. At least that's where the idea is born.
Right.
After that, I gave myself permission not to handcuff myself to all the facts. That I'm thinking of
You
the
gave yourself. I always love when I give myself permission to do what I'm doing.
It reminds me vaguely of a saying, a plaque in my mom's kitchen. She's Irish, 100% Irish. Definition of Irish diplomacy is the ability to tell a man to go to hell so that he looks forward to the trip. So I was like, it's double speak. But anyway, I gave myself permission because if I write about, if an idea comes about heartache or love or whatever, and then if I allow myself to use other people's experience or just make something up, sometimes it's a better song, than just my life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. And there's only so many things that you can write
Right.
about with your own life, or you need to write in a way that people can make the story be whatever they want it to be.
That's what I leave enough holes where the person can make it their story. Yeah. But yeah, so I started writing and writing and writing. Then I realized, okay, now I got to learn to record. So, I had to do a little bit of that,
Yeah.
and that's been,
How's that going?
so that's what I was getting at. Some stuff I loaded up, I had the temptation to maybe take off of Spotify and stuff. I thought, no, that's hanging out there. Because I hear some of the early stuff and I go, oh, I just didn't
Yeah,
know.
the recordings were all different, kind of,
Yeah.
that I heard. The
Yeah.
5 that I heard.
And I thought, oh, I should probably take that down. But I read somewhere, someone said, if you leave that up there, it drives you to make sure that before you press that finish button on the next song, you're going to say, do I want this to sound like that?
Now, what was the thing that was making you feel that way?
Well, I think like mostly vocals. I didn't know how to record vocals. They were really crisp, really, I didn't know how to warm them up. And so, you study it. You got to, you practice.
Yeah, they sound the ones that I kind of heard sound very like old recordings.
Yes. Yeah. Like, because I some of
But I
that's,
kind of like it.
some of
but
that's
I also,
intentional.
I was going to say, I also kind of like the way it sounds.
I
Because
w-
I don't
Yeah.
know.
There were a couple I put some filters on to make it give. There's I'm going to do a shameless plug here. I did a theme song for a podcast called Mucky Landing.
I actually think that is that on the thing?
Yeah, where it sounds
might
like
have
it sounds like Tom Waits almost.
I might have heard that
real
one.
gravelly. There's noise in the beginning, like shh, like almost like rain. But that was recorded on just a portable recording device, and but yeah, some of it I intentionally did that, but others, like I thought, oh, I overused a compression or I didn't use compression, whatever, and you're just learning, so you have to
I do know.
you have to
Yeah.
practice.
I've spent many hours learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing. So let's get back to the guitar teaching. So what's your approach, like with beginners, with advanced, what's your approach?
Well, I don't have a cookie cutter way of teaching everyone who walks in the door. And this is no offense to anyone who's taken higher education. I taught a couple of guys years ago local guys that have gone on to teach, and they're very successful. When they were kids, I taught them. That's how old I am, and they're doing it now. And not just them, but there's some other people that teach as if. I give you an example. Someone goes and they study. They love the guitar, and they go and they study it at Berklee School of Music. Then they come to little Wyoming, Delaware, or Camden, or Dover, get a job in a store, and they teach everybody as if they're going to Berklee School of Music. And I'm thinking, I teach a guy that's in his 80s now. I teach someone, a lot of people in their 30s, 40s, whatever. They're like, they had a guitar around for years. They used to play in college. They just want to get in. And the kids are older now. They got some time. They want to play and have some fun on the porch. You don't have to, okay, let's start with the circle of fifths. Nothing wrong with that. I love teaching theory. I do it very conversational. I use, I teach chord progressions with a baseball
That's
diamond.
another thing that isn't in the camera.
Okay. Hey, and I got an elephant over here and over there.
Right. Yeah, you just can't see the elephant, but there is an elephant over there. The elephant in the room.
Oh, look, the Stones are here, and then they're listening to it.
We're not lying. The Stones are here.
But so I like teach. I think I tried to make it like speak. Just like a conversation. Like, think of the first chord you're at. The key signature is home plate. And then the first object is the first. Your first intention is to get to first base, but eventually you want to come all the way home.
Yeah.
Teach like stuff like that. But I don't get me wrong. It's not goofing around. I don't let the student completely say, "This is what I want you to teach me." No, I love opening doors up for them. But yeah. So I love teaching bass. I love recording bass. God, I that's my favorite part when I'm recording is to do the bass line. But I love students. I try to get into sooner than later, not letting them wait 6 months or so. But I try to get into a little. Let's play with the teacher. Let's jam. I'm gonna play some chords. You play that scale. Just play the scale in order. Just go back and forth, and then we teach a little improvising before they instead of waiting like 5 years to all that stuff.
Yeah, just to start applying what they're learning. And what you were saying about people coming out of Berklee and teaching. I mean, the thing is, it's like you have a lot of experience. So even like someone like me, as you get older, you realize you might forget how much you know. But because we know what we know, we can teach how we teach. You know what I mean? Like if someone's just coming out of school, it's like, I know when I went to school, you come out and it's like you only know what you know. And you think
I never thought of it.
You think you know a lot.
Right.
But like there's so many things you don't know. School in this field in music, they just give you it shouldn't even I say this in a lot of podcasts. And I say it, but I went to school twice and I have the Grammys, so I can't even talk the smack that I talk on everything. But like in this field in music, I mean, it's really a thing that you learn hands on. It's not so much you go to school and they can fill you with all the theory and all the stuff, but until you can actually apply it, it doesn't really click.
Well, you just made a really good point. A really good point. I never thought of it that way. Fresh out of school, you're teaching closer to the way that someone taught you, which might have been a great way, but that's all you know. As you start getting more experience, you start
you put your own.
You made me think of something I say almost to every student. I say I teach a lot by what was taught to me, but I teach even more by what wasn't taught to me, because there were times, like I remember getting a guitar in 7th grade, and I went to the Mel Bay, whatever, and then, got through the first six strings, the first book, six string. I got through the first book.
I thought maybe the book was called the First Strings, or so, I don't know.
And then, and then I went to some guy who was just teaching me licks and stuff like that. But there were things I wish someone pointed out, like the whole way everything can move, not just, like you can take a D shape and move it up the neck. And as long as you're not playing the open strings, it's still, there's a D, then a D sharp, then an E, then an F.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, wow, if I had known that, I would have been dangerous. Right. But I do teach a lot there are some things I have floating around my head that are, things that I want to make sure someone learns sooner than later.
Yeah.
So they don't have to.
It's like something that you learned along the way that you're like, hey, let me tell you this.
Yeah, that's what
because it's going to take you a minute. It's they might
Right.
figure it out, but they might figure it out down the
right.
road. What if one of your students like do they get frustrated or aggravated ever, or
Yeah.
and how do you calm them down?
So let me. A good
just
slap
turn the
backhand across.
Just turn the amp up and tell them to start screaming and strumming the score.
Usually I say, "Hey, have you ever thought of piano?" No, I'm kidding. No, oddly enough, it's the adult students that come in. I have a theory behind that. The adult, he goes to Lowe's and buys a big box that's called gas grill, and he takes it home and puts it together. Step 1, do this. Okay, step 2, put these two together. Step 3, if you follow it, well, not if you're me. If you follow it,
the grill won't blow up.
It's put together, and there's no extra parts, hopefully. But and some of them expect that. I have actually heard. So this is to all the adult big learners out there. Don't be patient with yourself, because I've actually heard. I wish I had $1 for every time I heard. I'm doing just what you told me, and it doesn't sound like.
Maybe you need to. That's the first a sign. Yeah. Every time you say this, you give me $1.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, now continue.
Oh boy,
I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler, So
yeah, that'll work.
right. So yeah.
So anyway, they I tell them, when I say to a student, now it's going to take some time, they nod their head, and I catch them. I said, now you're agreeing with me, but I really need you at those moments to realize, that it's going to take time, because you're nodding your head, but you're still thinking, yeah, but by next week I should have this down. Stairway to Heaven, I should have it. Now, so I that's part of a lot of what I do. Is like reassuring them, tell them to be patient with themselves. Some do still get a little bent out of shape, but not bad. Some.
Yeah. Do you have them practice to a metronome? Do you feel that's important?
Initially, yeah. Everyone will tell you, any teacher worth their salt will say, hey, practice with the metronome, especially I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the smart speakers like Alexa and stuff like that I found this out by mistake. One day I'm sitting here and I said, hey, Alexa,
don't say it too loud.
No, I have a different name on it.
Oh,
And the reason I have a different name, because the knuckleheads, especially the little boys, they come in here, hey, Alexa, tell me a joke. Hey, do a beatbox. I'm like, shut up. We got a lesson to do.
Stop.
Yeah, Alexa, do a beatbox. Alexa. And I'm like, no, I don't. Just kidding. But so I tell them that, but I do, I say, hey, metronomes are very important. Every teacher will tell you that, but don't jump right into the metronome when you're brand new, because sometimes I've seen
super frustrated.
That's the most frustrating. I said and when you do start it, realize no matter how perfect you think your timing is, especially you guitarists playing in your bedroom, playing all solos, like, oh yeah, it needs work. So just realize that those two things. You got to be patient and realize you're not as good as you think you are.
And it's definitely it depends, I guess. Yeah. Watch out, you're showing the Starbucks logo. Oh. We don't want them coming after us.
Fun tips from Jim.
Yeah. Well,
confidence boosters.
It's also, I guess, exactly what you want. Let's say someone just wants to learn something, sit around a campfire or whatever. But if you want to be in a band and you have these dreams and these goals, I think it's very important to learn that metronome, to lock in and especially when you go to recording.
Oh, yeah. I've done. I still do it. I'll play the metronome and I get a little frustrated. And I'm like,
yeah.
That's
and
why
people
I don't
realize
drums.
that if they never. I was saying before the podcast, this guy that I brought in, record a song with him to just learn my way around the studio, and he plays out all the time. I mean, covers every week, multiple times a week, and he never played to a metronome. So that was a really frustrating part. He ended up getting it, but he realized, because he never actually was in the studio either. So he didn't realize what's involved. It's way different than live.
And
live is a lot more fun.
Right.
I think as an engineer, as a performer, as anything, it's way easier to just go and play than to actually record.
My brother plays bass when I go lately here, especially my brother Joe plays bass with me. The poor guy. We'll practice something and then I'll throw an extra couple measures at the very end of a phrase before jumping into it. And he's looking at me. I said, "Hey, I told you there'd be days like this, and there's going to be days like this." But
Who are some of your inspirations like that you grew up on?
um, I for years I was so afraid of being that old guy that always talked about the Beatles. You can see another thing off camera, a little shrine here to the Beatles.
There is a Beatles. We can take the camera off maybe at some point, and we can show them everything.
I named the cat Ringo, but I got a lot, and I always
Ringo's
liked them.
outside.
But
Sorry,
they,
Ringo.
yeah, Ringo's outside, yeah. But they continue to inspire, like they're writing what they knew, what they didn't know, what they tried. I'm reading a book right now, John and Paul, which describes their relationship through their words. And I know there are thousands of books on the Beatles, but this one's different. Um, uh, but the guy that made me want to play guitar, a couple of guys,
Stickers off.
yeah. Oh, I'm going to
There
put
you
that right
go.
there. See that?
That's what I was thinking.
John Fogerty was. See, I remember being 10
I
years
know that
old.
name. Who is that?
CCR. Oh
okay,
my God.
okay, yeah. I mean, I don't
am
remember. No.
old.
I'm horrible with names
Yeah.
and band names, so I'm like, I know that name.
He's a personal friend of mine, and he's like, he's over there too with
All
the
right, now you're
Stones.
pushing it. Now you're pushing it.
Okay, but I used to love that sound. The licks
Yeah.
he came up with, and they weren't like playing behind your head, double tapping or anything, But I think that Keith Richards, as far as guitar playing, but groups, yeah. I'll tell you what I liked, and if you listen to my music, a lot of people have problems putting it in what category does this go in, and I blame some of that on Chris Isaac. Yeah, I'm blaming you, buddy. In the 80s, and my claim to fame was that I didn't discover it, but
You had a good time in the 80s.
I started. Yeah,
We'll
we'll talk about that on another.
Everybody, yeah, go ahead.
We said we weren't going to talk about that. He came out in the 80s, and he very much looked like Ricky Nelson, sounded like Elvis, and Roy Orbison rolled into one in the 80s. Big hair time. And I'm thinking, is this guy? I like him. I liked it like 5 years before any of my friends had heard Wicked Game. I was listening to him regularly.
I didn't know he was around that long.
Oh, yeah. Look up Silvertone and Chris Isaac's self-titled album before Heart-Shaped World, which is the one that Wicked Game, was on in dark and had that Roy Orbison scariness to it with, it was just, I'd listen, not to get, I was going through a really worst time in my life probably, and I would listen to that on a Walkman cassette player at night in the dark with headphones on, and just, but it's just cool stuff. And that's been him. He's done that, that almost yodeling kind of singing, but, and I would have thought, no, he's not, I love him. I don't think, how's someone like that going to make, and here he is, he's still around doing it. And that kind of reinforced what we all say we know, but don't always follow. Like, every now and then years ago, I found myself trying to write someone else's song, someone
Yeah.
else's style. And that might get you some success or financial security or whatever, but that's not for the soul, so.
Yeah. It
But
doesn't make you
that's-
happy
yeah.
at the end of the day.
But and that playing, I love when I get a student that I come across that express an interest in something like, like rockabilly or blues or something like that. It's like, oh, you like that? Well, let me tell you, like,
Did you listen to any Bowie?
oh yeah.
Because I was going to say, the
Oh,
way
my-
that you mix your vocals, the little bit of Bowie that I've heard, I used to have one of the albums. I don't know if it was like Stardust or something. Ziggy Star.
Oh my.
But like the way that you have that slap on your vocal reminds
Yeah.
me of Bowie.
Nah, that's the best compliment.
Every
Wow.
song I was like the few songs I listened to years on the way, I felt like each one kind of had that slap that reminded me of the album I had. Is that what it is? Ziggy Stardust or
and the
something
Spiders
like that?
from Mars. Oh my God, can I tell you a story about that? So senior year, my dad, I'm in my dad's Fiat. We're going someplace, and he's talking to me. So I come from a family of 7. by the time you're in high school, you didn't ask for Christmas gift. You got what they gave you, and they always
Came from the boomer land.
yeah, and they always treated they always treated me great. So my dad's and he couldn't keep a secret worth anything, and he's like, so Jim, what do you want for? I'm in a senior year, and I'm looking out the window. He says, what do you think you want for Christmas? I don't know, Dad. Get me, I'm happy with whatever you and Mom, we're fine. He goes, well, my dad was from New York, so he pronounced the word the way I'm going to say it. He said, well, you think you might want a stereo? And I thought, yeah, Dad. And I knew I was getting a stereo. So, and it was one of those things, you got a record player, no cassette, 8-track, and a radio. Now, from Christmas on, the rest of my senior year, every day I came home and I played that album.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. I can, when I hear
It's
a
such
song,
a good
I know which
album.
one is coming next on the album. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people, yeah, and flipped it over and played every day of senior year. Yeah.
A great album. So
Hey,
yeah,
man.
yeah. So I thought of that album while listening to your music. So
Oh my
that's
God, there's some great stuff. But yeah, and his writing, he was deep into the whole surrealistic movement and stuff like that. And I thought I read one time that's how he wrote. He would just go into a room and write phrases as they came into his head. Not necessarily. You started this by asking, do you consider yourself a storyteller? And I don't. I've always, yes, I get it. I've played showcases with other songwriters where it's called songwriters and storytellers. And I like that. And I have a friend, Saul Knopf, who's really good at that. Go look him up.
what's his name?
Saul,
Oh, okay.
S-O-L, Knopf, Knopf.
Knoph or PF?
PF.
Oh, it is PF.
Saul Knopf.
I was like Philly.
Really good. He's really good songwriter. Just look him up. But he does that very well. But I have a different approach. I consider myself a painter. Like maybe specifically an impressionistic painter, where you have to squint to see. Like Monet. That's a Monet. Yeah, like a Monet. It's if you're too close, you can't see what it is. You have to back up and go, "Oh, I get it. It's a bunch of ladies in big dresses by a river." It's like,
Yeah.
something like that. But with parasol and umbrellas. But I, and big into leaving enough holes in there for people to make it their own painting, their own story, whatever. But that's kind of.
Yeah.
How did I get off? Boy, you do a good job.
Yeah. No, it was because we
Get
were talking
me-
about
yeah.
David Bowie for a second. Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep you going.
Don't get me
It's my
started on Bowie.
It's my job.
Oh.
How do you feel that being like a musician and a songwriter and everything, how do you feel that like incorporates, does it help you become a better teacher? Like if you were just a teacher, do you think that you would have as much insight?
That's a great. Your questions are great. No, they really are. That's great because well, let me talk about it pertaining to music, but I will get. That's a great question. There are students now, with all the shows like American Idol, The Voice, and all the young ladies who love Taylor Swift that come in my studio. A lot of them are trying out songwriting. Some of them on their second lesson, and I encourage them. I say, go for it. I only know one chord, but I wrote a song. Let's hear
Yeah,
it.
sometimes you only need 3-4 chords.
Yeah.
Some songs, less is more, and that's what they need. You
ever listen to "Smokestack Lightning" by Howlin' Wolf? It's one chord the whole song.
Yeah.
But so a lot of that, I will tell them. I'll share with them. I said, you don't. Songwriting starts in here, and then you get this involved, and maybe a little routine. Like if you want to be a songwriter, get yourself a journal, and encourage them. I hold off on telling them, music is a lot like math. I wait on that one because
it is. Yeah, that's what I say.
You can just see their little faces go. Oh,
I
crap.
hate math.
Damn it!
Just my escape. Well, it's
You ruined it
it's
for me.
numbers. It's all connected.
No, it is. But when those opportunities come up, but with guitar, yeah. But I think I am a better teacher because of that, and maybe because the whole math thing. You look at it. I never thought of music as math, and I realize, teaching is about showing different perspectives, like a history teacher, or some of these, and you can always tell the great teachers. The teachers that the students talk about from their school, public school, whatever. Oh, so and so, and you hear some of the names keep coming up, and like that must be a good teacher. And I think it's the ones that my brother Joe is a really good teacher. He does that, life. Yeah, I think experience. I think if you were just teaching facts, I don't know if that's the way to teach. I think everyone has to bring their life into whatever they are teaching.
Yeah. And when you say the math thing, I just always say it's like like you can't think about it. Like math, I don't even know now because they're teaching the kids to do math differently than they
Yeah.
taught us.
Yeah.
I think we have the same schooling, but these kids, like I live with an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the 8-year-old, she comes home and I'm like, let me show you. And but they're teaching this
Yeah.
bizarre. She has to draw all these circles. I don't even understand what's happening. And I'm not a parent and I don't have any kids, so I don't need to understand. But it's crazy because I'm like, well, you could just do this. But the whole thing is, at first she was getting frustrated and I was like, just don't, people that don't get math, I just say, don't think about it. You just got to do the numbers. You can't think of why this and this and this and how this happened and this formula and this. And I think music, like when you learn theory and all that, it's like, you just don't think about it. Like you can't think about it. Like just learn it so it becomes second nature.
Oh my gosh.
And then you just naturally do it. But if you try to make sense of it, I have no idea how we got here. But this is what the humans figured out from what we were given.
Oh my gosh. So I have some adult students that are, insert joke here, smarter than me. And they I have one student who he'll get stuck on something. And I'm thinking, it's not because he doesn't get it. He's like almost, unfortunately,
he needs
in
to
his own
understand.
way.
He's
He's getting his own, or putting up an obstacle. I said, yeah. I had another student that I would teach her the simple pattern. Like, look at this pattern: 2/4, 1/4, 1. With my fingers. Okay. So when I play that, that's the four. Is that the fourth? Is that the D? Is that an E flat? I'm stop. Don't think. Just memorize the pattern, and then we'll. But you're right.
Some people just want to
they hear it's like math instead of making that helping them them understand it. It makes it worse. Like no, that's what. Yeah, but anyway, and I suck at math.
Yeah, there's so many sources now that people can teach themselves a lot of things, especially YouTube, obviously. So, how do you feel that having a personal, actual interaction is better or worse or equal to someone just using YouTube?
You mean? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because some people are
for teaching and guitar
I mean that's
learning.
what I mean. For guitar, I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what, even I when I'm making things, I go to YouTube. Oh, how do you? Because I have all this software. I didn't go to school for it. Oh, and I only go to when I need to know something. Boop.
Right.
There it is.
You can surgically pick what you want to study. So you know how you go to the doctor and you got I said, doctor, I got a problem with my shoulder. And I think I read on the internet, and the doctor gets mad at you. Stop going on the internet. I have the
Dr. Google.
I have the opposite approach. The doctors don't want you, diagnosing yourself. But I tell my students, I said, look, if they had Google and then if they had the internet when I was a kid, geez, I probably would have never done anything else. Just looked up, I encourage them. I said, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you come in here and say, oh, I was watching Justin Guitar or Marty Schwartz or, I looked up this. I think that's great because it usually gives us something to talk about.
Yeah.
They were talking about, power chords. Do you know what power chords, why they call them power chords? Or do you know what power chords? No. And okay, let's talk about the root and the fifth. Then I have something that I knew that I can tell them so it's all good.
So unless it's like an interactive YouTube, the thing is, they could watch it and they can learn, but doesn't mean they fully understand everything. And then you guys can talk about it.
Right. Yeah. And that's how
there might be some channels where it might be live and they can actually chat and interact with the teacher.
And usually they're trying to do it in a certain amount of time where I have them week after week. So I can we can talk about it more, but I'm definitely not against it. I think it should be a part of their learning process, but I do like I can lean over in the seat and say, no, I said, put your finger there, not, and Alexa, play it.
What are some of the biggest, most common mistakes that people make when they're first learning guitar?
The really early ones where they try to play everything with one finger. Look, I learned smoke on right.
Right.
Let's
They learned
get
it.
those other fingers involved.
Right.
The understanding, they've heard some words like octave, and one kid swore to me that the octaves were the harmonics you play at the 12th fret. I said, well, the 12th fret is the octave, but those
Yeah.
are harmonics. No, they're octaves. And they're octaves up here and here. And I said, no.
Well, it's like an
So we had-
octave,
yeah.
but not an octave.
Right. I said, there's a difference. We're going to get into some physics. So so math and physics. So
Smarter than you think, Jim.
yes, I am.
Back to the Bowie days.
Yeah. Hey, man. But God, this is fun. I forgot what we were talking about.
Well, we were talking about
the
the most. I could tell you what I did. I was
Okay.
I was the most
the
common.
wrist.
The most common. Well, so I got my first guitar. It was like my mom bought me one in like 1994, and I taught myself.
Nice.
And it came with like it was a rock power pack, so it had the book with like Guns N' Roses, like and it was like the rhythm of like Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses. I forget there was 4 songs in it, and I taught myself, and so I learned, and it was great. It was awesome. I was a huge Nirvana fan when I was a teenager. Learning Nirvana songs, and it was just basically power chords, everything. And one day
So,
I was watching
Teen Spirit, Welcome to the Jungle, Wonderwall,
whatever it was. I don't even think I don't even think Teen Spirit was in this book. That's how long. Like that's how like Teen Spirit hadn't made it there yet. But then the one day I was watching Nirvana. I was watching like Kurt play, and I'm like, look at his hands. So I taught myself completely wrong how to play a power chord.
Oh.
So then I had to, so instead of like, I think I just had these fingers.
Yeah.
Like I had them, and that sucked.
Yeah.
Because I literally learned how to play. And then I was like, wait, Kurt's not doing that. And then I had to like unlearn that way and then play it the right way.
I will correct a student on something. I'll say, hey, I noticed you're playing with your pinky. You're allowed to do that, but I play the 2 power chords with this finger and this finger. Well, I saw this one guy, and I said, yep, you'll see some very famous guys playing it, so there's no wrong way. What I tell them is it's not like I have the right way and you don't, but whatever you do, make sure it's consistent. And there are things I'll tell them, like the wrist, when that wrist comes up, trying to make an F chord. I said, no, drop the wrist. I do this.
You got to build the strength.
I do a whole thing with the when
Do they have? I bought one of those things back in the day when I was a kid.
the
Exercise the fingers.
Grip
Is that
Master.
still a thing?
It is.
Yeah.
And they've got
And is it still called? Is it still the same company?
Grip Master, and they've improved it.
Good for
You
them.
can
You can
adjust
see-
each individual string. You can adjust it, a finger. You can adjust it.
Oh yeah, I just had one with springs, like from the
I
'90s.
think it has a compass in it too, or something.
It probably even has like the pressure, like you're 8 pounds
Right.
on your, or not 8 pounds, but
Come out like Schwarzenegger's. But some of them fight me on the wrist. So I came up with this thing I call it crazy glue. I tell them, do thumbs up is good, hitchhiking's bad. Good, bad, good, bad. I do that. Yeah. Because if they're holding the guitar like they're hitchhiking, they're this is against the neck.
Oh, is that the difference? Is that what hitchhikers do?
Yeah. Like
There's a lot more
like
hitchhikers.
she's never hitchhiked.
There was a lot more hitchhikers.
I thought
in your
you
day.
partied and everything.
Yeah, well, I wasn't hitchhiking.
My dad always said, "Don't ever let me catch you hitchhiking."
That's what
and
they
you
used to
never
do.
did. No, we wouldn't consider it, but like it was a bad idea then. It's a
Horrible idea now.
Oh yeah, let me get a ride.
Well,
with the
no,
string.
it might have been a really bad idea
Yeah.
then too, because
But as bad as it is,
Anyways.
so this when you see you're doing this on the with
So you go. So,
So you
what are you
do
supposed to do? I bet you I
thumbs-
play wrong.
thumbs up is good, right? Thumbs up. You imagine glue, and then I have to tell the young boys.
Okay, so
I said-
thumbs up. Okay, oh,
No,
yeah.
like literally thumbs up,
Oh.
and you're gonna imagine a drop of glue, right there.
Okay.
Don't go gluing. I said.
Oh, because you don't want
yeah.
to get the glue on,
So-
because then you're stuck.
No, yeah. So it's stuck. Now I do this with the adults. I don't make it, but with the kids, you glue that to the back of the guitar neck behind the 2nd fret, and it automatically puts your wrist below the fretboard, and your hands are curved. I said, see, that's a good place to start. And, you can monkey with that a little bit, a lot, especially people with bigger hands, and so I don't. But the little kids, just to get them the idea, giving them a little, instead of like, well, let me do it the way I want. That's mostly it. Like form some good habits.
What's one of the like most common bad habits that people have?
Well, like they'll
That is
hold the
it?
guitar like a baseball bat, or so like they got a death grip on it. But other than not practicing, that's the other thing. I'm going to give you a word about that. In my day, like Homer Simpson's
Back in
grandfather.
1902.
Yeah. Come on, Grandpa.
Ooh, that was good.
Oh, I do a really good Homer.
Can you give us just one more?
I'm not directing this towards you, okay?
Okay.
You're so stupid. How's that? That's pretty good, right? Okay, I'm out of here. I've got like Costanza, end on a good note.
I'm going to go with Ringo.
Yeah.
Well, with the Stones.
And I'm done. Thank you. So I have students that are so busy. They got like tons of other things going on, like dance, which is fine. It's good to have, idle minds, the devil's workshop. I get it. And that might have been what we were like back then. But it's almost like some are so busy that, they think going to lessons on a Tuesday night, that's guitar. No, you got to practice at home, and they don't. So I know
that's
that
why you
I'm
gotta learn
stretching the question, or I'm reinterpreting the question, but their worst habit is that they don't have the habit
practice.
of practicing. I know it sounds
And
tired.
that's a lot of times why it's harder for older people to learn something new is because your time is less. Like
Yeah.
I know when I started playing guitar, I was a teenager, and I every day was in my room,
Right.
and that's all I was doing after school. Besides probably like smoking a lot of weed and whatever else you did in high school, But come on, we all went to high school.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, some dropped out, so some didn't
Study
make it.
hall, right?
Some didn't make it.
Smoking weed in study hall instead of doing
well,
that.
you never know. We usually just try to skip out, but yeah, that was a very important part. Like it was literally, and so when you're trying to learn stuff when you get older, it's hard because to have that dedication is hard. So if they're doing it when they're younger, that sucks.
So I learned not to I could be the teacher. You got to find time every day for a half hour, Instead, I find myself, I'm not crazy about it. The ones that are really want to do it are going to do it. They're going to find time without, but
They have the burning passion.
I help guide
They've been
them.
blessed with
Yes.
the burning passion of music.
Yeah.
God bless.
You.
Good luck.
You've got it.
Good luck
You
out there.
not so much. But there's some I help. I say, look, I say, what time? I ask them about their schedule. Well, I got a couple of kids come in. Well, I was busy this week. I couldn't practice. What were you doing? Well, I had to go to school, and I had homework, and I had to eat and sleep. And I'm like, you're not winning me over here. I'm calling
any
bull
school?
crap on that. So I would tell them. I said, look, if you ever find yourself getting ready for school, and you have my whole high school, I would be the first one down to the breakfast table eating, because I had 7 brothers and sister, and I was in and out, and so I was left sometimes with 10, 15 minutes, and that's where I started, like little increments of time. I said, you get home from school, if you're not doing anything, I usually have a snack and play video games. Okay.
Now you've just lost.
Yeah. Somewhere
lost
in there,
me.
give me, So
Unless you want to do like your son and that's another kind of career. You know what I mean? Video games, but.
Right. I tell him, if you're crawling into bed, I want you to visualize your feet sliding into the sheets, and you haven't played in 2 days. You need to jump out, pick up the guitar. I don't care what you do. You don't even have to do our assignment, but you need to play for 2 minutes. And they look at me, and I think they're not going to do it. But I think I've planted something where,
At least they're thinking about
they're going
that.
to bed
And
and
like,
I
feel guilty. I gotta go play for 2 minutes for Jim.
Yeah. Right.
Do a lot of your students have? I'm assuming they have guitars because they have to practice. Do you feel like they feel ever like they need more expensive gear to be better, or like, oh, I'm gonna get that and it's gonna be better?
I have one student who is in high school, and right from the get-go, I could see he had the disease, what we call, he had gear acquisition syndrome. He would like talk about stuff. I need to get something he heard. I need to get a gate. I need to get this because I want to play this one song. And I'm like, I said, I don't want to be the guy always bursting your bubble, but you're, and he's already got a bunch of guitars. And I said, what you need is put the time in to learn the instrument. I need this. And some of them just have that. They want to, it's fun to buy. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's one guitar or piece of gear that you recommend that people do get? Like, what's a good starter?
Oh, I like that. So if you're starting and just, I'm gonna answer a question you didn't even ask, but sometimes I get asked by parents like, my son wants to play electric guitar, but we're telling him he needs to start with acoustic, right? And I'm like, well, how old is he? 15. Give him the electric. If he wants to play electric at 15 and you give him an acoustic, you might as well be giving him a clarinet. It's not the same instrument in his mind.
Yeah.
But like with a smaller student, yeah, get him. Don't muddy the waters with amps and chords and stuff. Get them the acoustic. And I recommend, as I'm going to recommend a brand here, but Yamaha makes everything they make is good, from their starter
And
instrument.
affordable, right?
Yeah, and they make some high end stuff,
Okay.
keyboards, guitars, whatever. But they have a 3/4 size guitar I absolutely love. It's a FG Junior. That's right. Yamaha, I'll be expecting that check. You mail that to 200
And-
Southern Boulevard.
And
No,
I expect
no.
half of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'll be
neither,
hitting you up.
both of us are getting bupkis. But they just make a guitar that, as I've seen adults play these guitars. They're not a kid's guitar. They're 3/4 size guitar. I stand by that because I've seen adults like with arthritis, play these things. They're more comfortable to hold. They're like a parlor guitar, and they sound great. And 20 years from now, they can still be sounding great. So that's one that I would recommend as a starter. When you get, there's all kinds of stuff. When you get
Yeah.
into electrics, sticking with a name brand that's
I have a Fender Jag Sting.
nice.
So I like that
Speaking
guitar.
of Kurt Cobain, right?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I got it in the late 90s. Right after
Yeah.
he had passed, they put some out for sale,
Yep.
and then they quit selling them. I don't know if they sell them now.
I don't know. Yeah.
They quit selling them. And so, yeah, I'd got one actually for half the price, and I still have it. But the good thing about that guitar was the neck is small.
Yes. Yeah.
I forget what.
Oh yeah, because some of those Fenders have big baseball bat necks. Yeah.
Yeah, though he combined the body Mustang and a
Jaguar. right?
Jaguar and made a Jag Sting because he had small hands.
Fenders were always known for that. They called them Frankenstein, and we would take like, I want to play a Telly, but I want to put a Strat neck on it. And
Yeah.
you'd slap a Strat
Yeah.
neck on.
Does anybody ever want to try to find their own sound, like their own, or is it kind of like they're learning and
Yeah,
they figure it out?
No, a lot of them. Well, like you mean my students? You mean?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Most of them are, and I don't mean this in any negative way, but most of them are trying to sound like their favorite artist. or
Oh, of
something
course,
like,
that's how it starts. You're inspired by them.
Some
Or-
of them may even be coming in dressing like Taylor Swift,
Right.
That's funny.
It's part of being. It's
yeah.
part of it. It's how it
Yeah,
starts.
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. We all,
Yeah.
Which, okay,
So they're kind of like, yeah, they're role models is
Yeah.
who they're sound. But the thing about that is that's forever. Like, think about yourself and your role models. Like, whatever you learned on and whatever happened, like, there's going to be a piece of you in it, but you will forever have the sound of your generation. Well, maybe not everybody. Like me, I will forever, if you give me a guitar and you give me whatever and
Right.
and just play something, and it's going to sound like
Yeah.
90s grunge rock.
right. I got a good Taylor Swift story. Can I
Yeah.
tell you? Okay. So when I first got into songwriting, I was into it a couple of years. I said, I better register it with ASCAP, one of the performance rights thing, which I did. And then one week
Uh-oh.
in the mail, I get 5 days in a row. I was collecting them until recently. I think I finally just took a picture and threw them out. But I get these things from Spotify, this form, and it says request for licensing. Like, I flip it over and it lists the writer, Jim Rezac, artist, Taylor Swift. I'm like, and without, because I'm the kind of person who doesn't read or proofread or read something.
Not you.
I jump to conclusions. Yeah, look on Facebook. I do that all the time. And I said, does this mean she wants to record one of my... Yeah. And
What
that
did
I thought she wanted to record one of my
One of your
songs,
songs, yeah.
and that
It is sell
that
it.
lasted for not even 15 full seconds before I realized that can't be it. And I looked, the song was, I wrote it, one of the very first songs I wrote was called Kiss Me Like You Mean It, because it had the word mean in it, and she wrote a song, You're mean and a liar, and that.
Oh yeah, that's a good karaoke
And I was
song.
thinking, that cannot be the reason why. This isn't the computer age. They couldn't have made this screw up. So I called Spotify. I said, hey, I think there's been a mistake. And she, no, that is a legit form. She said, I'd recommend you contact ASCAP. So I did that. I could only contact them via email. So I sent him an email 2 days later. I said, listen, I think this is what happened. I think you mistook her song Mean because it's in the title, and I have the word mean in my title.
Oh my God.
Somehow that you got it mixed up. 2 days later, I got an email back, basically my own words coming back at me. What happened was we mistook, exactly what So I shot back and I said, okay, I'll cancel the order on my new yacht. Thinking I was being funny, right? Crickets, they didn't even respond. I was trying to, I said, for a split second of my life, you had me, I thought my ship was coming in.
You were like,
but I got 5 every day. Like, hey, we need licensing permission on this song. I'm like, God, wouldn't that
that's
have
ridiculous that even happened.
Sons of you, Taylor Swift.
So there's creative people and there's talent and there's technical people, right?
Yeah.
I'm
none of those.
I don't even know if I
Yeah,
really
no,
have a
dude, none of
question,
them.
but the interesting thing is, like, when I used to play when I was younger, I like to just play. I don't like to play other people's songs. Like, I mean, I learned a bunch of Nirvana songs and some Sublime songs when I was a teenager, but I just like to jam on the chords I know, and I just like to whatever. And there was this one kid that I used to jam with in high school, and he knew all the theory. He was a sick guitar player. He
Yeah.
probably still is a sick guitar player. And stuff that I couldn't do because I never even trained myself to do that.
Right.
But like the thing was, and he'd want to jam, and I'm like, dude, I can't jam with you. But
Yeah.
the reason he actually liked jamming with me, because he would say, but you're creative. Like, I can't do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I can be technical and I can do what theory says and I can do what is written down, but I can't just play. So then by me just like strumming, because that's what I like to do, then he can start just doing what he does just by my creativeness, which is kind of cool.
I'm going to point
You
to
got people like that?
I'm going to point to something off camera again. There's a piano over there.
Yeah. There is. There is.
Yeah, it really is. It's a piano, a messy, junky piano.
No, it's not.
And 3 months,
Lighten up.
3 months after you see the sign on it, music is what feelings are, sound like.
Yeah.
It's cool.
That's why your music sucks.
So my 3 months after I opened the studio, about 12 years ago, I guess it was, a friend of mine, Jeannie, said, "Hey, Jimmy," that's what old friends call me. I know someone's giving away a piano. I thought for your studio it might be perfect. I said, yeah, it'd be great to teach, and I can refer to theory. So lugged this in with the help of my 2 sons and my brother Mike. We lugged it in here. One day she came in to check it out after I got it tuned. She goes, "Oh, this plays nice," and I said, "Go ahead, play something. Play some 3-chord 12-bar blues, and I'll just jam." She goes, "Do you have music?" I said, "No, just jam." She goes, "She's played since she was a little girl. She's my age." She goes, I don't jam. Now, I've always admired her for her reading. She can look at a piece of music and hear it, Oh, I like this,
Yeah.
I've seen her do it in stores. She'd come in and look at stuff, and it just amazed me how talented she is. But yet, she said, "No, I can't do what you do and just riff and jam." And I'm like, oh, wow. And
it's crazy because you can teach the technical and you can teach all that, but you can't teach creativity.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Right? It was kind of like, I was going
I don't
to
know.
say something from that. Like,
Although
you can teach,
I
like
wouldn't,
with being a bartender, like you can teach all day long how to make the drinks, this, that, and that, but you can't teach personality. So like,
Right.
if you have a horrible personality, that's
Right.
a huge part of the job is personality. So it's almost like the same as, I mean, do you feel, I don't know, maybe it is the same. Like there's people that are technical and there's people that are
Yeah.
creative, and
And
the
what I
technical don't
admire,
really necessarily know how to create.
what I admire about the people like me admire about the technical people is that like a lot of discipline and just sitting down, running the scale. Went into that. It used to be like some of the stuff that people like me say about technical people almost sounds like sour grapes. Like, oh yeah, but there's no soul and or whatever. I once heard a guy at an open mic just and I'm zoning out, like thinking, okay, I'm not really enjoying this. I made the mistake of just suggesting that to someone, not that person. I said, yeah, but I'm not getting into it. Oh, you just sour grapes, you can't do it. I'm like, okay, that's not really it. So I just shut up. It's like, but
They
which
would probably make for good like studio musicians.
yes, yeah, and there are times when you need that. You want to blow
Yeah.
stun guitar, just blow them away. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel it's a realistic, like with your students and stuff, that they can like make a living from playing guitar?
Um, I just had a conversation with she's in her early 20s with one of my students who started taking lessons. And she said she came in here one day, but didn't even take the guitar out and said, I want to talk to you about careers in music. And I was like, I felt like I had to give her answers, but no, I ended up being honest. I said, well, people will say, I said, you can look that stuff up and you can pay for information, and they'll say stuff like, well, you can be a sessions musician, or you can be a concert promoter or someone that a sound man. I said, but realistically, you have to look at geographically where you are. Is there enough business where you are where you can do that? I said some can be done virtually, but I do have people. I said, you'll end up, look at me. I'm teaching. I consider myself a songwriter first and foremost, but yet I pay the bills by teaching.
Yeah.
And I have another shameless plug. I was fortunate enough to get a song in a horror movie. Trying to get a second song in another movie is tough,
Yeah.
So I'm not making a living at that. You got the one deal, but that doesn't make you a living. That's the one check,
Yeah.
So and that's an effort. So I I'm very honest. I say it is easier. One time I worked, I was working in a music store. Is that doing what I want to do in music? No. But is that helping my knowledge of gear and connections with people? So
Yeah, I guess it's more or less like what they want out of it.
yeah,
Like a lot of these people I talk to on this podcast all have full-time careers that have nothing to do with music, and then they are doing their music stuff on the side, where I like went this other direction and make a living from music, and I figured it out. It took a long time, but
right.
I figured it out, and a big part of that was becoming a DJ.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, you don't really know. It might not be exactly what you think, but as long as if the guitar, if you're playing guitar and that's what you want to be in a band, depends on what you want. Like, some people, like, the reasons they have these side jobs or these careers or these jobs, and then because they don't, like, let's say, because they don't want to be in cover bands. They don't want to,
Right.
like me as a DJ, I don't play. I don't have time to make music very often, and so I'm open format, but I'm basically a cover band but a DJ,
Right.
and it's okay because it's easy money to me. It's
Yeah.
easy money, but it's like you're not expressing yourself. So I get it when these bands and these people say to me, no, we have jobs because like we're playing and we're writing and we're creating and we're only throwing a couple covers in because that's what they
Right.
want to do. They don't find satisfaction in just sitting for 3 or 4 hours and playing other people's songs, which
Right.
I get.
Right.
So it all depends on your direction. Like, being in a cover band would get you closer. You got to know what you want at the end and trust the process to
Right.
getting there, pretty much.
And some of it is making sure you're not you don't give in totally. You don't give up your dreams totally. Again, I have a friend who, same guy, really good songwriter, but he, as hard as I work at getting students, he's getting gigs and he plays all, all through the month, every month, and he's road dogging it, going to, and yeah, playing all the favorites, but more nights a week, he gets opportunity to still play his own songs in front of live people. And now people know that, and they request it, and they say, "Hey, can you play that song
Yeah.
about your daughter?"
That's how a lot of people get their own.
And I think that's what a great, you're playing music, you can get in your head about it. Well, I'm not playing my own stuff, and so who cares? You're playing music, and then you play a Van Morrison song, and then you go and you play one of yours.
Yeah.
It's like it's still
Yeah, it's how you have to throw in the songs that people know, because it seems like the mass people want songs they know, unless there is a collection of people
yeah
that, and hopefully with what we were talking about before this podcast, with all my, the idea I had with getting everyone together and
yeah.
keep growing, and every year,
I love
I'm
that idea.
hoping to grow also that audience, and like the people doing shows, like, we'll see what happens. But
Yeah,
if you get more people, like the gem that I brought up and where it's located, it's like if they could get more people in that area to care about music, but like
right.
I guess like we can only expect so much. Like we're
Yeah,
like Jason and I call from Drowning Fish, like with audio engineering, we call it a disease. Like you said disease earlier, and that's
yeah,
why I understood what
yeah.
you meant, because it is a disease. Like audio, like you were saying with the gear, gas,
Right.
but like with audio engineering, it's a disease. Like
Yeah.
you get in that room and you're recording and you're mixing, and it's all you're there for hours. You can't even believe it's already been 8 hours, and
Ye-
you're like, this is crazy, and
Yeah.
I'm still like only at this point of this, and it's a disease because you actually don't want to stop.
Right.
And then you go home and you're just thinking about that mix. Or
Wired.
you're thinking
Yeah.
about whatever. You're thinking about that piece of gear that you want. You're thinking
Right.
it's a disease. So I can't expect everyone to have this disease, I guess, in your average day people. But like,
Yeah.
how do we get the people to, more people to care about that indie scene? Because there's so
Yeah.
many good bands
So
that.
sometimes don't you feel like it's, and I'm not being negative here, but sometimes it's almost like, what's the expression, getting, getting blood from a stone or whatever it is, where you're squeezing something, um, uh, around here, in Dover, Delaware, there was this wonderful old theater, and had different approaches over the years trying to renovate it, revive it, and it there was a couple of people from the community that said, God bless you guys for trying, but I don't think, come on, this is Dover. We got the air base and their influx of new people all the time, and I'm not saying it's hopeless here, but it's a challenge. Anywhere.
Yeah, well,
Some
people like
places
with
less of a challenge.
It's because I have this problem that people have, is that you could see it. You're like, but I could see this happening. Like,
Yes.
it makes so much sense. But like, does anybody care as much
Yeah.
as you care?
Right.
You
Right.
know, so
Yeah, then you see an event and no one's showing up for it, or lackluster.
until it's a known name, and that's
Yeah.
just how people
Yeah.
seem to be. What makes a great guitarist to you?
Um, I- there have been licks that I have, felt like I heard that, and I'm like, oh my God, that aren't the most. This goes back to our technical thing. That aren't the most technically, challenging riff. It's just, oh my God, it's like a phrase, like a turn of a phrase, words. Oh, I wish I had said that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm even answering the question, but there's something that makes me like, I like something that's catchy. I'll take that over something that doesn't have to. It might only be a couple of notes as opposed to a blurry of
Yeah. Well, that's what they always
to
say.
me,
Less is more, right?
yeah, to me I like those, where you're just hanging on one note,
Yeah. Little feedback.
yeah, a bend.
Little hammer on.
You did play, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I still can play. I gotta. I'll play again one day.
One of the things I like to, you haven't asked it, but like sometimes because I play and teach, it's kind of fun. Like I play a coolest little place right down. You can hit it with a rock from here. Tre Sorelle Dolce. It's an ice cream parlor, mini golf course, and this is coming up on the season. I was fortunate enough to be probably the first guy to play there on a Friday night, and they're bigger now. It's been there about 15 years under their belt now, or something like that. Maybe not quite that. And people talk about support. They took their chance and had people like me play, and people started coming. If you build it, they will come. They start bringing their chairs and listening and facing you, and like it's more so than any bar I've been in. Maybe not a concert where you play a songwriter thing, but they come and they listen to you and they clap and you interact with them, and then next thing you know, they're doing music on a Saturday and then a Sunday from May until October, and it's like and that happened because of the support.
First and you play like covers and original? Or
I go there. I play mostly originals.
Mostly originals?
Yeah, because it's so
Well, that's good. That's good.
I do have fun though with I do covers. I'll do like Seven Nation Army, but done like slow and like Tom Waits, kind of like
you
like,
put your own flavor
spin
on it. Whatever.
But I like that. I play somewhere like there, and I can have a student sit in with me, and their families there, and it's like they feel like, oh my God, that's kind of fun thing to do, because I do both of those things, both play music and teach.
That's cool.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. You guys have much of a scene around here? Do you have any little venues or anything?
There are there's a winery down the road, about 10 Harvest Ridge Winery. They support live music and have live music several times a weekend, especially in the night, inside and out. It used to be a bigger band scene around here years. I'm not saying that's gone away or anything. It just doesn't seem there's as many places for full bands to kind of really kick it here. There's down the road a piece. There's a really great listening room. It's called the Listening Booth. They big supporters of live original music, and that's fun. They've been around for a while. But there's the Dover Public Library has once a month has some kind of live music. But yeah, there are places at the Parks and Rec place, like downtown Dover, Killen's Pond, stuff like that. They're doing all kinds of stuff like that. Especially with the weather, it's about to break.
Yeah, it's about to be the season.
You'll see more of it. Yeah,
season of the festivals.
Yes.
If are you taking on more students?
Yeah, always.
So how do people find you if that's a thing? If they want lessons, because you do them virtually too, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because I know I one podcast guest last season. She was talking about guitar lessons, so maybe that could happen.
Yeah, I definitely do virtually. JimRezac.com is my website,
and then everything can probably be found there.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you would like to talk about or share or plug or anything?
Well, you mentioned plug. The website has my upcoming shows, and I am going to be playing some of those aforementioned. I love that word. Aforementioned, like Killen's Pond, Dover, downtown Dover. I'll be playing there again. Just found out that don't have the date yet, but I'll probably be playing at the Freeman Arts Pavilion, about an hour and 20 minutes down the road. That's a really neat place. I'll be playing Harvest Ridge Winery quite a bit, and the Trey Sorelli here in wonderful Wyoming. My dad used to say, "Don't blink or you miss it," when the family was driving through Wyoming, Delaware. I always tell people, if this is the kind of place where if someone told you Norman Rockwell was born here, you'd believe it, because that's exactly the kind of town.
I don't know who's Norman Rockwell. I'm horrible with names, movies, TVs, artists, everyone.
He was an artist. Look him up.
What kind of artist?
He did was Saturday Evening Post. He'd always did the covers, and there was like a policeman sitting. Speaking of ice cream stands, big policeman sitting. There was a kid with obviously had a hobo stick. He was running away from home, and the cop was buying him ice cream. It was like kind of tear jerking. Slice of Americana. Oh, boy, I got to teach her everything.
I know. I'm horrible.
No.
I only know a couple things.
You'll recognize it. You'll see it. But Norman Rockwell he was an illustrator.
Okay.
And he did scenes from real American life, like Little Old White.
Okay.
So you're playing music outside here in Wyoming, Delaware, right next to the train tracks. Across the train tracks is someone's railing on their house that has the flag, the little flag circles going on. There's, I don't know. It's a really neat place. I can't say enough about this neat little place. And the fabulous ice house that we're in right now. 100 years ago, this used to be, less than that, but this was built about 100 years ago, and it's an old ice house.
This building?
Yeah, and they used to store, like, Pfeiffer orchards would store their fruits, their apples and pears, their peaches here, and trains would come and load up and take them to all over. Yeah. Boston Red Sox used to got in an accident here about 95 years ago. The train derailed with the Boston Red Sox on it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I wasn't here then.
That's crazy. All right. Well, I'm going to have to wrap this up soon because I'm about to hit all this traffic and I have a gig. So the last question of this podcast, I don't know if you know what it is.
No.
You don't. So this is what it is. How is music your hero?
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, I should know because you end all your podcasts with that. So music is, I'm actually ready for this. Music is my hero because even though it was later in life, music is what gave me my passion. And like I said, about 15 years ago, there I was already in my 50s, and I found my passion, and which if it wasn't for music, I wouldn't have found that.
Right.
Yeah, and it's my hero because every day I get up, I'm doing exactly. I know that's tired, and we've said it, and you hear it all over the place. Do what you love, and the rest will follow, and stuff like that. It's all true.
Yeah.
I'm doing. I got a guitar in my hand. When I'm not, I'm sitting making music in my little hole in the wall studio.
Yeah, that is something that, like what you just said, was my mom always taught me from a young age. And like this past 6 months, I've been having a crisis of what I'm doing with my life, even though it's fine. But she was a huge person. Just do what you love and make sure you're happy. So she always supported me with any decision that I made that had to do with music and this and that. Some parents, aren't supportive because they're like, there's no money, which is kind of true. It's not like you're going to be, unless you make it big, you're not rolling in the dough.
Right.
Like, I'm not making 6 digits. This isn't happening. You might find an outlet that does happen, but I'm learning now because there's a lot of people my age that are making way more money than I'm making.
Right.
But like, they might be doing what they love, but they might not necessarily be doing what they love. And at least that's what I have. I wake up every day and, it's frustrating. I mean, I'm really busy. So sometimes it drives me crazy. But that just means I need a vacation.
But I know what you mean, because there's like when you, there are people that maybe because of all that they make, they are happy because after work or while they're on vacation, I get to go here. But I guess, and I'm not saying comparing like as I've got the better situation, but those 9 to 5 hours, I'm still doing exactly what I want. It's not like, okay, I'm doing this as a trade-off. I'm going to go work the office and, sit behind the computer, but I'm making a lot of money. So I feel like every day I'm doing exactly what I want all day long. So that's unreal. Yeah.
So it's a great thing.
Music is definitely my hero.
But some people don't even have any music in them. So that's why people like us exist, to entertain them when they do have off and things like that, which it's a whole nother life being an entertainer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right.
And thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time, bringing me to your little
If this is
place.
the first time you've listened to this, any of the people that I'm going to forward, please watch all the other episodes. This is great. Thank you so much for doing what you do.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for doing what you do and keeping the music alive and keeping real instruments alive and real players alive.
Until next time, keep creating, keep connecting, and keep building together. Remember, we're in this together, so let's keep each other's shine alive.